You're listening to the Future Tech Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies such as artificial intelligence, stem cells, 3D printing, gene editing, Bitcoin, blockchain, the microbiome, quantum computing, virtual reality, and exploring space are much closer than you might think. In fact, many early versions of these technologies are in play right now, and the companies that are using these technologies are the focus of this podcast. My goal for you, the listener, is to learn from these podcasts. You may very well learn something that may change the course of your life for the better, steer you towards a new career, or give you insight into addressing a thorny medical problem. Remember, this podcast and its content is informational in nature only. No medical, tax, legal, financial, or psychological advice is being given. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please listen, subscribe, like, and tell your friends about it. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're listening in the world. My name is Tracy Murda with the Future Tech Podcast, and today I'm very excited to have a special guest, Marian Bacol-Uba, TEDx Speaker, international bestselling author, conscious business coach, and the founder of Thriver Lifestyle. Thank you so much, Marian. That is quite a mouthful.
Thank you for having me, Tracy. It's an honor to be here.
Now, you have a lot going on and you've been through a lot. I think I'd like to first start with, why don't we tell our listeners a little bit about your background and what led you to where you are in the success in life in all aspects that you're at today?
Yeah, sure. I believe everyone has a story, and oftentimes what we think are our darkest moments can be what catapults us to our purpose and really what we end up doing once we get through that. So a little bit of my background of how I came to, be a conscious business coach, do the book and everything, and really Thriver Lifestyle. My company was very, the word Thriver comes from where I came in life. So based on my TED Talk, actually, it's, are you a victim, survivor, or thriver? So it's really this last part, because for many years, I lived in victim and survivor mentality, in that consciousness and mindset. So pretty much most of my life, I lived a double life. I'm Asian American, and I had to check off all the boxes. By the time I was 14, I was president of class. I had straight A's, sort of like all the things that you had to do. But no one really knew, except for maybe one or two people that I had partied with, that by that same time and age, I started my relationship, a very harmful, toxic relationship with drugs and alcohol. Because for me, when I was high or when I was drunk, I was able to escape my reality. Because reality was, at home, where most people feel safe, I actually was being sexually abused by my father. So, and I had to, keep it together. I actually tried telling my mother, and she told me to never speak of it again. That's shameful. And, so I learned to sort of live this double life, like put a mask on and everything is great. I just perform well. I do well. I went to a great college. By the time I was 27, I was a marketing executive of a global Asian retail and grocery chain. And I was also a food writer and a food blogger in LA, where I grew up. And so I was doing TV and I was going to all the events. And on the outside, you'd think that I had everything together. I went to check off all the boxes. And for me, it was really justifying my actions with my achievements. I thought, I'm doing well, 6-figure job. I have this title. I'm going to all the best things, and everyone has their vices. And so, I turned to numb the pain, and because I didn't want to address any of the trauma, I was like, everyone in LA does this. Everyone drinks and does drugs to forget. And so that was my life for a long time. And in 2014, I overdosed and had an out-of-body near-death experience that changed my life. So I was like, okay, right after that, I knew that I wasn't going to get a second chance. I had to do something drastic, because for me, I was like, it was so easy to be in LA and, it was comfortable. I knew so many people. I could get back into the cycle, but I knew that wasn't good for me. So I bought a one-way ticket and I moved from LA to Miami with no plan, no friends, no job. And I just had to get out. And in Miami, that was really where for the first time in my life, I started doing things for myself. I went inward. All of my life, I looked for external validation or, ways to, whether it was work or working out or relationship, to find something, whatever it is that I thought was missing or trying to heal. And here, Miami, was really where I just dove into meditation. I worked with energy healers, shamans, plant medicine. I read and dove into all the books, went to the conferences on mindset, mastery, and healing. And I even got a meditation and pranayama certification as a teacher. And I realized, like, all these things that I was learning, like, we weren't taught this. Like, why is this not being taught, from where I grew up? So I just started sharing it. I started sharing, and I started, like, just organically, people started asking me, how are you doing this? What are you doing? I found the courage to confront my father and tell my family, and really started, after 21 years of silence, speak about my story and my journey, like, openly. I put it all out there, and the response was amazing. I wasn't even expecting that. I was so scared to, put my truth out there. And that's how the coaching really happened. People started asking me, and I was like, oh, I think this is something I would really love to help people with. And how I got into conscious business coaching is that I realized, I have 15 years of marketing and business development and event production and sales experience. And then I had this other experience on the other end with the meditation and the mindset and really the soul work. But I really couldn't find anything that was in between. So many people burn out. You can have all the strategies and tactics and all the things that you do, but if you don't take care of the inner work, that can catch up to you. Sooner or later, something's going to happen. There's mental health issues is, on the rise. We burn out. We always think we can, team no sleep, hustle, grind, but, that can catch up with you, or we turn to other vices. And I realized that where I was, my zone of genius was really in the middle, helping others share their story through public speaking, share their authentic story, whatever hardships, whatever challenges, triumphs, and really extract that out of them, but also help them catapult their brand and their message into the world, and how to create a sustainable business like that. And that's really where I've come here. I have that book, which is Unleash Your Voice. I'm also the founding member and USA chapter lead for Keynote Women Speakers. It's an international nonprofit with a global mission to create more diversity on stages all over the world. And I'm really passionate about helping people tell their own story, just like how I did mine, and how you can create more impact and influence as well as income through all that.
Isn't it interesting how, the way you describe your overachieving and your perfectionism and all of those things? I mean, that is very characteristic of addiction and all of those unhealthy behaviors and all of those things that I know I speak from experience. Do you think those types of attributes that we have also, although they can maybe mask a lot, perhaps also propel you to where you are today? I mean, how did you turn all of that negativity, maybe negative behaviors at the time, and kind of use it now as something positive?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think it became my fire fuel, and that's really where that mindset from victim to survivor to thriver, I realized, through the inner work, that at the end of the day, whatever happened in my past, that was in the past, and it doesn't define me. And I could use that to really fuel me, to doing something. And I actually had control of my thoughts, my emotions, my actions, that we are the creator. We have this ability, and it starts with our thoughts, to pick something, choose something different. Instead of repeating the same thoughts, the same negative patterns, we can disrupt that. We can change it with more repetition of something more positive and good. And that's really where the mindset mastery, I would have never been able to do this work if I didn't work on my mental health, my emotional, my spiritual health first. So that's really what drove me. And yeah, so now I've turned all of that, and that fire fuel into something good and productive, and sharing that with others.
That's so amazing. I could definitely relate to it. It goes back to those, bad behaviors. I do the same thing myself, and I beat myself up for years of going, oh, now I'm addicted to work, and now I do, maybe I'm masking something with the work, but instead it's almost like you said, a mindset change of, you know what, I'm never not going to be addicted to something. So let me use these behaviors in a positive way. And now I'm going to kick ass at my job. I'm going to kick ass at being a mom or whatever it is people choose. So who do you work with? Who are your, ideal clients or those that find you to work with on your coaching basis?
Yeah, so I work primarily with women. I have some male clients, but just my avatar, my ideal client is really who I was even just a few years back, those who know that they have a message, that they want to share a story. And it doesn't have to be anything tragic or traumatic, but they have something to share with the world and they haven't quite figured out how to do that sustainably in a business. So I really help them with creating that message, taking it out of them, and either launch a podcast, a YouTube channel, launch a book, something where they take that out of them and use public speaking as a way to generate leads, to really grow their tribe, and to position themselves as an expert.
I love that tribe. So walk me through a typical coaching scenario with you. I've come to you.
Sure.
I need some help. What does that relationship look like?
The relationship is really, it starts with asking questions, what is it that, you want to get the most, what is that story that's inside of you, really extracting that. Because oftentimes my clients who first come to me don't have clarity and focus, and that's the very first step. They're doing all the things, they're trying all the things, but it goes back to, you need to be clear. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to share? And especially with speaking, who is your ideal audience? Who do you want to reach? And oftentimes like, well, I want to get speaking engagements. I want to do this and that. I want to create this course. But do you know who this is for? And oftentimes they're not clear yet. So we have to get clear because that's really the foundation. Once you realize and you figure out and get clarity on who you serve, then you can serve them with the course, the talk, whatever it is that you want to create. So getting clear on that and then set your goals and then we reverse engineer that.
What kind of accountability do your coaching clients generally have to you, or how do you do, check-ins and make sure you're on track or you get back on track and to fall off?
Yes. So I'm very particular. I want to make sure that I work with clients who also know that they need to take action. So my best clients are the ones who also take responsibility. You can only coach and guide and teach someone all that you know, but if they don't take action, that's the piece. So many people out there say, oh, I know what to do. I know. And there's a lot of knowledge out there. And I don't believe knowledge is power. It's applied knowledge. People who take action. That's really what matters. And so for my one-on-one clients, and I'm very selective. I only take a few because my coaching business has grown and I actually have my course and I do my talks and retreats. But for my one-on-one clients, we have a deep dive first. After we figure out if we're the right fit, we do a deep dive to really get that clarity. And so to create a plan and that goal. And I meet with them 4 times a month, which is once a week. But they have access to me. And this is really where the magic happens, through voice memo, email, and text. So even though we meet once a week, we do the check-in. So as they're going through what they need to create, they have availability to send me emails, and I usually respond through Loom or things like that to hold them accountable. And in the coaching calls, it's really like, what are your wins? What is our action plan? What's your takeaway? And what are you going to do? And I hold them accountable because, unless they do that first step or that second step, we can't go to the third and we can't move forward.
So tell me a little bit more about Thriver Lifestyle in terms of some of the different retreats and events and workshops you do and what people are getting out of those.
Yeah. So Thriver Lifestyle, and it really came from my journey, victim, survivor to thriver. And lifestyle is because it's not an overnight fix. It's something that we continuously need to do and to work on. And so that's the name of my company. But so I hold several, I'm actually next week in LA, and I don't know when this is going to be set out. I have a conscious public speaking masterclass where I really break down, the ins and outs for how to become a speaker who wants to create an impact. And it has a 3-part framework that is passion, purpose, and prosperity. And I break that down in the masterclass. I have masterclasses. I have retreats next year on June 2020. I have a retreat in the Philippines. It's my strategy and soul retreat. And in the 6-day retreat, for the first 2 days, I teach my content, basically what's in my course, my Conscious Public Speaking Accelerator course, which is currently open right now, only until Friday. And the last time that I'll offer it this year. And we dive into that, getting clarity on who they serve, what their speaker topics are, their signature talk, and how to really reach out to pitch properly, create their speaker kit. So those are the first 2 days. So they get all this content. Wednesday, we have an excursion. We'll be volunteering with a local nonprofit that helps women create artisanal products in the Philippines to support their family or their villages. And then Thursday, Friday, my whole team is in the Philippines. We're doing a professional headshot video. They do have that one-on-one time coaching with me. And so by the end of this retreat, they have a media or speaker kit already built and designed for them. And within this retreat, there's yoga in the morning, there's meditation, we have rituals in the beginning and the end, it's plant-based meals. So it's strategy and soul. So we have the mindset work in with, the actionable steps. Because for me, I'm about getting results too. But we blend all that. That's really what happens in my retreats. So the master classes are sort of the mini workshops. And when I work with different clients or with conferences, I can expand or contract. If it's a workshop that I need to, do for 3 hours or a whole day workshop, we can go through that as well. It just really depends on the time frame that I have. But for my events, the master classes are usually an hour.
What do you say to, some people who are maybe unfamiliar or uncomfortable with the whole idea of a business coach? I mean, it can be a little confusing if you're kind of outside of the marketing arena. How do you explain what you do and what makes you different from others out there that, call themselves such?
Yeah. So what makes it, first of all, what is a coach? And it's really someone who guides you and helps you keep accountable and focused. My clients are amazing at what they do, but they also need clarity and aren't focused. They're doing so many things. And the beauty about having a coach is that a coach can take away all the fluff and be like, okay, this is what you need to work on from based on my experience, having done it too, and guide you along the way. And it could exponentially speed up your progress instead of you having to do the DIY approach. And let me try this, and all coaches at every level also I have my own coaches too, and my 7-8 figure coaches have coaches too to help them reach to the next level. So yes, you can do all of it on your own, but it'll take you a lot longer. Working with a coach and someone who's been there and who knows how to help you execute and keep you accountable will just, supercharge you being able to get results and accomplish your goals a lot faster. It can exponentially speed it up if you take the action, of course. And really what makes me different is the strategy with soul. I truly believe that you can have and I help you with, getting the strategy in place, doing the tactics and the techniques, going the back and forth, but it's also the mindset, really getting to what limiting beliefs do you have, really holding you back. And I work with a lot of women, especially women of color. And I believe for my experience, my personal experience as a woman of color, as well as someone who has had my voice, taken from me from a long time and really gotten through that, I know where they're coming from, and I know the limiting beliefs that they have with culture, with society, with their family. And it's not something that I've read in a book. It's something I've experienced for myself. And really it's that connection. I believe in energy. And sometimes people don't have the same fit, but all my clients have worked with me and who continuously work with me, there's just an energy fit as well. So it's a combination of that. I'll help you achieve your goals and get results, but I also know where you're coming from and the things that really go through our minds that stop women from stepping into their power, because we are so powerful. We have a message to share, but we hold ourselves back. And a coach will help you, especially me. I'll help you break through that so that you can serve more people. And it's a conscious ripple effect. When you are successful, you are able to help others. And that ripple effect continues through family, friends, and your other clients. And you can reach more and more people. And I feel that's really the purpose of all of it, right? As coaches, we really want to help others create a bigger impact as well.
What are some of your biggest accomplishments or the biggest challenges or exciting things that you have done maybe within the past 5 years? And kind of what are some of your goals for this next year?
Yeah. Some of my biggest accomplishments really holistically is one, I'm a regular meditator, and I believe it's so important to just have that control of your thoughts, your mind, and being able to really know that you can create your reality. I think that mindset shift is a huge accomplishment. Second, I'm really proud of my TED Talk, being able to share my story and how people are so receptive to what I thought before were things I was ashamed of, my history with being abused and the drugs and the alcohol, and how I'm able to authentically share that and help people through that. And really my clients, because when I hear the impact that they're creating and the work that they're doing, you're like a proud mama. Like, oh my gosh, like you help them to reach their goal so that they're also elevated and can help more people, because we can't do it all alone. There's so much room and abundance for all of us to be successful. And so when I hear their wins, I celebrate with them, and that's a huge accomplishment as well. And for me, my goals are even get on bigger stages and also be on Super Soul Sunday on Oprah. That's a big one. Super Soul Sundays, publishing my book next year. That is something, it's called Thriver. That is something that's a goal as well. And expanding my retreat. So my Philippines retreat will be annual, but also adding on a second retreat in the year. And that location will change between like Tulum, Bali, Greece, all these places, because we tend to be able to get so much more results when we're away from all the distractions and just be able to sit down and get so much done. In my retreats, my clients are, this took me a year to do, and here in just a few days, like intensives, you're able to do it because you're away from distraction. You're able to focus and to reach more people all over the world. I believe there's bigger stages, bigger audiences. I have some upcoming projects and some partnerships that I'll be announcing in the next few months that I'm very, very excited about. That's on a global platform, and really just expanding. Being able to help more people internationally on larger stages, and the one-to-many. It's the one-on-one. That's why I'm limiting it, because I know that I can reach more people, as well as TV. That's another thing that I'm working on. Since I used to love doing a lot of TV work when I lived in LA for that food scene, and now doing it for this type of work. I think people need to see representation of women of color being able to talk about these types of things.
I love it. You are a busy body, and you are going for it, girl. I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Woman after my own heart. So how can someone get in touch with you if they're looking for either the book or to talk to you about the coaching client, or just even to touch base on your journey?
Yeah. So they can go to my website, but actually I'm very active on Instagram, and they're able to really, see not just the posts, IG stories. And I tell this to my clients, especially if you're putting yourself out there, it's that human connection too. You're able to see someone like behind the scenes, not just, the perfect, photographed and edited pictures that you put on. So they can reach me on Instagram, Instagram /MBACOLUBA, as well as my website, marianbacol-uba.com.
Thank you so much for your time and for your inspiration and for sharing your journey. You're such a brave and honestly just remarkable woman. I really appreciate you giving us the time and story that you have shared today.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you for letting me share this on your platform. And for anyone who's listening, if any part of this resonates with you, it's resonating with you for a reason. And because there's a story and a message that you also want to share.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. And we look forward to watching your journey this coming year.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
You're listening to the Future Tech Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies such as artificial intelligence, stem cells, 3D printing, gene editing, Bitcoin, blockchain, the microbiome, quantum computing, virtual reality, and exploring space are much closer than you might think. In fact, many early versions of these technologies are in play right now, and the companies that are using these technologies are the focus of this podcast. My goal for you, the listener, is to learn from these podcasts. You may very well learn something that may change the course of your life for the better, steer you towards a new career, or give you insight into addressing a thorny medical problem. Remember, this podcast and its content is informational in nature only. No medical, tax, legal, financial, or psychological advice is being given. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please listen, subscribe, like, and tell your friends about it. Thank you.